tomorrow will be better. A 2 kilogram mass slides down a rough inclined plane at 30 degrees. Given that the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.2 and g equals 10 meters per second squared, find the acceleration of the object. To begin, dear friends, the acceleration of this object is no longer g, simply because other forces are coming into play and we are no more in the context of free fall. Okay, so follow me, dear friends. Solution. Such problems, it's good to begin them by drawing what we call a free body diagram, because free body diagrams help you to easily visualize what's going on. Okay, it helps you to materialize the motion which is taking place. All right, so I'll do this very quickly here. Now, if this is our 2 kilogram mass here, experiment has proven that, of course, we know g always acts vertically downward. Now, by experiment, there is a component of this g, or rather of this weight, which acts along the plane of the motion here, guys. It has been proven to be mg sine, here is 30 degrees, so I will just go straight here and write 30. And the same experiment has proven that perpendicularly to the motion plane, there is a component of the weight which has been proven to be mg cos theta. Now we conventionally know that the reaction or the normal force is always perpendicular to the surface on which the object is standing. So this is why I'll put here n. And of course, we have been told in the question that there is a coefficient of kinetic friction. All right, this already brings to mind the presence of the friction force, which of course has to figure out in the free body diagram as well. So at this point, we just have to apply Newton's second law, according to which the net force acting on an object is given by the mass times the acceleration of the object. Just to remind you that in this formula, this is what we are out for the acceleration. But to find this net force, we will see, look at all the forces acting here. The only forces acting along the plane of motion, guys, because this is our interest here, the plane where the motion is taking place. We have towards the direction of the motion, we have mg sine 30, and then opposing this is frictional force. All right, that's why we're going to put here in negatives. So if you look at this first expression here, we have everything here. This is where the problem lies, friction. But we know that friction is given by the normal or the reaction force times the coefficient of kinetic friction. Again, there's another small problem here, very small, because I call it a problem because most people are used to saying that the normal reaction is usually just equal to the weight. This happens where there are no other forces acting on the object and the object is on a plane or horizontal surface. But once you have something like this where the object is on an incline, dear friends, experiment has proven that n is not equal to mg, but rather equals a component of this weight, okay, which experiment has proven to be mg cos 30. So we will say n here will be n g cos 30 degrees, and if you punch correctly, this is 2 times 10 and cos 30. This will give you 17.3 Newton. Therefore, with this, we are going to deduce that the friction force will be N times mu k, which gives 17.3 times 0.2. And if you punch correctly, this should give us 3.45 Newton, because again, friction is also a force. Now, haven't we united all the elements of this formula? Okay, so we will say, therefore, F net, which is equal to MA, which is F net, will be given by mg sine 30 degrees minus 3.45. If you punch this correctly, this is 2 times 10 times 0.5. Okay, so we will have in essence 10 minus this, which is equal to 6.54 Newton, because once more we are talking about the resultant force, so it's a force in Newton. This said, to find the acceleration which we've been asked for, ma equals 6.54. To find this acceleration, we will kindly divide both sides by the mass. Here we're going to have that 54, the mass, which is 2 kilograms. Therefore, the famous acceleration will be equal to approximately 3.26 6 meters per second square. This is how simple it is. Guys, where you shouldn't fall prey is at the level of this reaction force. This reaction will never be equal to mg in this context because we are in an inclined plane context, okay? And another thing to take into account is the friction force because there is a coefficient of kinetic friction, because tomorrow will certainly be better.